What I've done is I've gone throughout the whole texture and covered the seams that were appearing by just using the clone stamp tool, and just covering the seams, just using other parts of the photograph to cover the bits that were appearing half as seams just before. Again, I had to turn off the video capture software because it wasn't allowing me to record. So what I'm going to do is just going to quickly export this out again and make sure your background, your reference plate texture layer is off, so it's not visible anymore. Save this to the location that you want. For instance, I'm going to call it test 3 again and press OK. Leave the make it maximize the quality of the JPEG. Go back into your 3D Studio Max, and now what we're going to do is we're going to close this for a second and we're going to open our material editor up. So we're going to use the picker and we're going to select this material, which is basically this one here. And first of all, we're going to apply the diffuse map. So if we go into the bitmap options and go navigate and find that texture that you applied and that you exported out. So now the texture's there. If I click now onto this option here, this should show me the texture onto the model. So if I click on that, and as you can see, everything else is black because we haven't textured anything else, but the stone texture is already appearing on the model. So that's already looking much better. There's a bit here on the face, and the reason that's only there is because part of the texture. I'll just show you. If I go into the UV editor again, open UV editor, and select this face here, because this is aligned in that area, if we were to move this back to within our box in our texture space, this will be covered. That's why it's appearing that way. But when we unwrap the full model, it's not gonna do the same thing. It's gonna be different. So that's how you get your texture in, and you kind of repeat the same process again and again until you're happy with the results. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and do the same thing again, pretty much the same way. So I'm going to do the same thing. So for instance, I'm going to select this cluster here. So if I select that, this chunk here, and rotate that around, and move it, displace it. See, what you can also do is once this is something that I like to do as well. This way you kind of utilize your textures more and you can get higher textures in. For instance, if I know this face is pretty much the same one, I can go and align this up and have pretty much this, use the space and get a similar effect. But obviously I have the black seams there, but this way you can also do the same thing as well. So what you can essentially do is create a bigger version of the model. For instance, I'll scale this up. I'll have to go back into my 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 texture space and rescale it in Photoshop as well. But just to show you what I mean is that if I scale this up, then I can just use the same texture space. If there's a stone texture which is repetitive, I can do that. The reason why we're unwrapping this is to make it very custom on each side. So for now, we'll just keep going the way that we started off with. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna move this here. Actually, what I can do is add this to the end as well. So it just appears to be a um, big chunk at the end. So if I hit the edge option, turn that off, hit the edge option, I can even stitch that up as one at the end. So if I hit that and hit stitch, that pretty much joins up the whole thing there. Again, as you can see, it adds to it. I can do that. I've somehow moved my textures. That's why. Oh, there we go. I undid that. Sorry about that. I can pretty much do that. So if I select the cluster again, move that up, just leave that on the side for now because it's a single face. I can do this, start with the back. Again, the back, if I was to lie that on top here, so just bring that here. I can join this section up with the back. Go to my cluster. Want this to be on one end and the other edge to be on the other end. So that's the way I want it. You can have it differently if you would like, if you prefer a different side. For instance, if I select that, if I turn my cluster on, off, hit edge and stitch option. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry about that. If I hit this one, it should bring it. Okay, we can fix up the rotation. So if I do that, so that's pretty much there. So now if I select the full cluster again and face mode, I can pretty much rotate that around, move this slightly up. Again, it's keeping all the proportions the way it wants to. I'm going to have to take this into Photoshop to apply the textures to it, but as for the unwrap, I've already done that. As for the rooftop, I'm happy with the way they are already unwrapped, the custom ones. I'm happy with that face and I'm happy with that one, so we can move this into one section and where we want it because we're happy with them. What I'm gonna do, just to make my life easier later on when it comes to texturing this, I'm gonna put just thinking might be better to stitch these up. Yeah, I can actually stitch these up so I can kind of texture them separately in Photoshop. So if I go edge, put these edges together, actually I'll leave them on their own for now. So I'm happy with them. I'll just move them here. I'm happy with the main straight this chunk here, which is the straight one. Again, I'll move it here. As you can see, I've already have a area that is my UV map is coming through now. So I'll select the next bit, again the UV map being here, so I'll move that along. I'm gonna pretty much have to do the bits that I'm happy with. I'll select them out. So again, these ones are fine. They can pretty much definitely these clusters can come with me to the other section, so I can move them across here. Again, I'm differentiating what needs to still be cleaned up. I'm just positioning them quite randomly, yeah, but at some point I'm gonna start fixing things up a little bit better. So if I go here and this one's nicely already done, so this is a flat face. Again, this face, which is on the other side. So if I select all these faces that belong into this edge part, there should be one more somewhere. Okay, we'll find that in a second. For some reason it's not unwrapped, so let's select these two. So basically that's the, oh yeah, I did select three of them. So that's the 1, 2, 3 for now. I'm gonna roughly scale these two about the same place. I'm just gonna put them like that, one next to another. Just we can work on them when we start texturing. So I'm gonna move them into my texture spaces, put them somewhere where I'm happy with. Again, this box here, the back area, I can stitch this up. So if I take that with me, select edge, turn the cluster off, so just to make sure I get the right edge. I'm going to be pretty much cleaning this up now, placing them until I'm left with the last faces that are really messy, and then I'll show you how to fix them. So first of all, let me just show you. This is the same way. So I'm adding the edge there, and I'm adding this one there. I'm gonna leave this the way it is. As you can see, it kind of scales up. That's why it is. I don't need to flatten this. So I'm gonna select that cluster. Let's select the face at the top as well. So the face that kind of goes next to it, which is, if I select the edge, which is this one here, and we should be getting a face somewhere. It's there. So there, that's our face. Oh, there it is. So I'm gonna move that in this area as well. I'm not gonna stitch this up. I can do if I want to. I can just select this edge and tell it to close it as well. And put that together. So that's all one cluster now. I'm just doing the same thing again, repeating it until I've got my model. So if I select that whole cluster, move that to here. So basically what I'm creating is creating a kind of map for all the different elements from a model. So let's put all the roof area together. So when we come to texturing that should be straightforward. So let's put this area here. That's part of the roof. That's the roof there. Carries on. The roof carries on again. We'll have the roof there as well. So I'll cut the video short now. I'm going to carry on aligning this, and you should do the same. Just filling up your textures space up with all the area.